Hey guys, Yips here, coming with another video, and today I'm here to talk to you guys about stats. So stats are my #1 question when it comes to Warlock, I think. A lot of people are saying like, hey, there's 130% haste or 130% mastery cap. Hey, is there a cap at 140% mastery? And I'm just here to ease your guys' minds about stats and have a little bit of a discussion with you and what sort of things you should be worrying about in your class and what sort of things you shouldn't be worrying about, okay? So first, let's talk about caps, okay? There are no caps for Warlock. There's no mastery cap, there's no haste cap, there's no soft cap, there's no anything. It doesn't exist anymore, right? Because the reason there used to be caps back in the day is because when you had a certain amount of haste, it would make your dots have an extra tick at a certain percentage of haste. So for example, if you're at 20% haste, your corruption might tick 14 times, but if you are at 30%, it might tick 16 times, and that was a cap, right? You would cap at those numbers. You wouldn't want to go anywhere in between because it wouldn't benefit your corruption. But nowadays, what Blizzard has done is instead of increasing the amount of ticks, they just will give you the partial tick values, right? So if your corruption, if you have enough haste, it will just tick, 12.2 times. So the last tick will just do that proportionate amount of damage. Therefore, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter what your values are. There are no caps. A lot of people think 130% mastery is a cap. It's not. The difference between 129% mastery and 130% is just 1% dot damage. It's the difference between hitting 129 and 130. It's 1%, okay guys? And it's not multiplicative, it just adds. So if all your dots were hitting for 10,000, if you get that additional 1%, they'll hit for 1,010, okay? So don't worry about hitting caps, they're not important. The things that you should be worrying about, however, is what pieces of gear you would like to be upgrading to, okay? So when it comes to my Warlock, I'm going to use myself as an example. When I look at my stats, these are currently my best simming single target stats, okay? 29% crit, 14% haste, 124% mastery. Now, you guys might be kind of wondering why I'm running these stats, because I always talk about how haste is so good, right? I'm always talking about haste is super good for the MG build, mastery is super good, and crit's not quite as good any longer because of the new winnowing trait, right? That increases your dot crit. This devalues crit because it gives it to you in a different form, right? Well, this is the gear I'm running because this is the best gear I have, right? If you have, 920 pieces that have a lot of crit on them, but don't have any haste, well, sure, that sucks, because if they had haste on them, they would probably be better. But still, you're just going to use them anyways because crit isn't that bad of a stat, and it's super high item level. So when you take a look at my gear and we take a look at how my stats work like this, the reason I have such high crit and such low haste is because of my jewelry. I have a ring that gives me crit and mastery, the non-thumb 915. I have a 905 socketed Signet of the Hathor Magi that has haste, or that has a gem, with really high mastery, low crit. And then I have a neck, a 920 crit mastery neck, okay? And this is how I get all of my crit. Now, sure, I would like it if this 920 neck was mastery haste. Sure, I would like it if one of these rings was mastery haste at the same item level with the socket, but I just don't have that option. And you shouldn't be looking for lower pieces of gear just to make your stats look better, okay? So for example, right, I could do this. I could equip this, I could equip this, so I just equipped a 895 mastery haste socketed neck, and I equipped a non-socketed mastery haste ring. And look at my stats. You would think these look a lot better, right? 135% mastery, 19% haste, 21% crit. But in fact, it's actually quite a bit worse on single target than the gear I was running before. The reason being, I lose a socket here. I also lose a lot of mastery. Or I don't lose too much mastery, I just lose a socket. And here I lose 15 item levels, or sorry, 25 item levels on a neck. And that's why it sims so much lower. So when it comes to you and your Warlock, stop worrying about what your stats are and start thinking about what pieces of gear you would like to upgrade, okay? So when it comes to my lock and I'm thinking, okay, what do I want to upgrade on my Warlock now? Well, I can't upgrade any of my tier. My tier is here to stay. I have a 905, tier legs, I have 905 tier gloves, I have I have tier shoulders, I have tier chest, I have legendary helmet and legendary cape. I can't change those pieces of gear. Those are kind of set in stone, right? If I take a look at my bracers, well, I can't really change those either. That's a 920 socketed bracer. I'm probably not going to upgrade that, so I don't need to worry about changing my bracer. My neck, well, it's a 920 neck. Sure, if I got maybe a 915 mastery haste one, I might be able to swap it out for some better stats, but my neck's pretty good. I'm probably not looking to change that. My belt, haste mastery, It's pretty good. It's got nice stats. It's a little bit low item level. If I could get a higher one, that would be nice. I look at my boots, haste mastery with the socket, 900. Maybe if I get a higher item level one, I could upgrade it, but you know, it's pretty good. I look at my rings, the Nod Thumb ring. I'm probably never going to get a better ring than this, at least until Tomb of Sargeras. That's staying. I look at this ring. Well, it's 905 with a socket. Sure, if I could get maybe a 910, a 915 mastery haste ring, that would probably be an upgrade, so that's a piece of gear I could look out for. When I look at my trinkets, Arcano Crystal, that's probably not changing. Whispers, oh, well, this is an upgrade I could get. I could get the Mythic Whispers from Gul'dan, so that's a piece of gear I could get, right? So that's how you kind of want to go about your lock with your gear. You say, okay, you know, my belt and my boots and my trinket here, those are probably the pieces of gear that I can upgrade and change, and maybe this ring, right? And that's how you want to go about doing it, okay? So if you're lacking on a stat, don't say, okay, I need to start replacing lower item level gear. Just look at some pieces of gear at high item level that you have and be like, okay, how can I fix that, like I just did on my character, okay? So remember, guys, don't worry about hitting certain caps. They do not exist. People are lying to you, okay? Worry about, you know, if Simcraft is telling you to get a certain stat, think, okay, well, what piece of gear could I change of the same item level with better stats, right? Don't worry too much about downgrading your item level. Generally speaking, it's not a good idea. In some cases it is, but generally speaking, intellect is very valuable. So thanks for watching. Hopefully this helps some people out in terms of what sort of gear they should be using, what sort of ways they should look about getting upgrades, and I will see you guys later.